Okay, we might kick off. There's a couple hundred of you in here. So thank you all for joining us, existing Rex clients and people that aren't using Rex yet, but hopefully will be soon. My name is Hamish Edwards. I'm the sales manager here at Rex Software, here to give you a look at our latest release, which is improved buyer management functionality in the platform. Now, a little bit of housekeeping to start with. So I'll be taking you through a demo of the new functionality in my demo account. Those of you that are already using Rex, you already have this functionality in your account. So feel free to have a play around with it. If you need further assistance with that, you can always reach out to our support team using the live chat option in the bottom right or submitting an email ticket. Those of you that aren't using Rex, if you want to find out more about this functionality or book in a full sales demo, then we will be in touch after the webinar, and you'll all be receiving a recording of this session as well. So feel free to share that amongst the team or review it yourself in the future. Now we have Joel and Arino from our product team on the webinar today to answer your questions. So if you do have any questions, don't be afraid to jump into the Zoom chat Q&A to go ahead and ask them. Joel and Arino will both be jumping on there and responding to questions. That's about it, I think. Got Joel and Reno answering questions. There we go. Joel's popped into the chat now. And please feel free to use your reactions throughout the webinar as well. It's always good to see people engaging. I can't actually see any of you, of course, so I do kind of feel like I'm just talking to a screen. But hopefully this is informative and hopefully you guys like the new buyer management functionality. So jumping into the actual demo now. So Rex is always improving, always releasing new functionality. We've got a lot of resources put towards new feature dev and responding to feedback requests. And this new release is basically the culmination of quite a bit of feedback from our existing clients and people that have looked at Rex, given us feedback that we've taken away and sort of implemented into the platform as well. So Rex has always been fantastic for helping you guys manage your buyer inquiries. I'm not a real estate trainer, so I'm not going to hammer on to you about how important it is to manage all your buyer inquiries. I'm sure you guys know that. Your very first engagement with most of your sellers is going to be when they're a buyer. So it's always good to make sure that every single buyer is fully serviced quickly and efficiently with a really positive initial engagement and impression of you and your brand. So Rex has always had useful tools for doing that. The system will automatically process all inbound buyer inquiries, send out listing inquiry auto response. Also, will automatically create what we call buyer match profiles based on people's inbound inquiries, based on people attending open homes and private inspections, allowing you to automatically market similar listings to them going forward. And of course, we also have our mobile app Pocket, which allows you to manage all of your open homes and private inspections from your phone. People can scan the QR code and check in. You can check them in on the app and basically just get them in and out of your open homes while still providing useful functionality for you and your agents to record their feedback for that open home, to possibly prospect for a future appraisal as well. And again, just make sure that buyer has the most positive experience, whether it's the first time they're meeting you or the 10th time they're meeting you. So the first thing I'll show you on our new piece of functionality is on the home screen for Rex. So hopefully you can all see my screen here in my demo fake real estate Rex account. And that's a new section we've added here called follow-ups, which is what I'll click on now. So we've always had the reminders section in Rex, as well as these other sections on your home screen to help you manage your day as you log in. Follow-ups is separate to something like reminders. Reminders is our tracks process, our process management system in Rex, where you can set yourself follow-up processes, set and forget, have email, SMS correspondence automatically sent out to your buyers, to your sellers, to whoever you're following up with, and basically just take on your reminders each day as they appear on the home screen. The follow-up section that we're looking at here is automatically populated for you. And this is basically showing me any buyers that have come through an open home or a private inspection that I haven't had a chance to follow up with yet. And what that means is I haven't captured feedback from them yet into the system. So feedback in Rex is every engagement with a buyer that you might report back to your vendor through a PDF-based vendor report or through our recently released online vendor hub. So that's things like discussions you have with buyers at your opens, private inspections you conduct, discussions you have with people when they inquire, offers you receive from buyers, follow-up discussions with buyers. Basically, every single touch point with your buyers that shows the journey of you selling your vendor's listing. So in the case that you're running around on Saturday managing 4 or 5 open homes and you end up having 40 or 50 people through those open homes, scanning the QR codes and checking in, or you're checking them in on the mobile app, you'll oftentimes not have a chance to actually speak to them about the open and capture that feedback into the system. And that's what will show up here on the follow-up screen. So when I log into the system, I can see that there's 8 people I need to follow up with from open homes that I conducted yesterday, and also 1 person I need to follow up with from a private inspection. Like all lists and recs, we hopefully make it really straightforward, really easy to use. You can see there's some basic filter options for this list. We can change what type of follow-up we're looking at, who the listing agent is, what listing we're looking at as well. We can also change whether we're grouping it by date or by listing, depending on how works best for you and how you find the most efficient way to operate. We can also easily change the filter from looking at the past week, the past fortnight, or the past month. Hopefully you're not waiting a month to follow up with people after an open home, but that is the option available to you just to make sure that every single opportunity is capitalized on. So we can see the list of people I need to follow up from my open home. The main prompt here is going to be to add feedback into the system. So again, feedback is what we're capturing into Rex for reporting back to our vendor. So that's things like a price indication, an interest level, and the actual written feedback. Reese here is fully financed. He's very excited about making an offer on the property, going to follow up with a formal offer form or whatever you're going to capture to report back to your vendor about that engagement. Now, something else that's part of this release, and is actually my favorite part of this release, is basically just a more efficient way that you can access contact details in the system. And what I mean by that is wherever you see a contact's name, that's always been a clickable link in Rex, but we've now changed that behavior. So if I click on Reese's name here, it now opens up this new pop-out contact side drawer that we can see here on the right. This is giving me a summary of this contacts record in the system and some useful actions I can take right from here without having to open up a different tab or navigate straight through to the actual contact record. So we have a look at the side drawer here. There's a few useful things I can do. I can see Reese's phone number to call him. I can see his email address. I can also see what smart categories Rex has automatically applied to this person. Won't go into too much detail on the smart categories, but that's basically an automated tagging system in Rex. So we can see the Reese here is looking to buy, he's looking to rent, and he's also a property owner in our database. There's a few action buttons, so I can immediately generate and send off an email to send to Reese, including our integration with OpenAI to help me generate content if I want to. I can do the same with sending out an SMS. I can add in a feedback entry, add in a note, or even book in an appointment. If I talk to Reese after an open home and he books in a private inspection, I can really easily do that through here. Any appointments in Rex will sync from Rex's calendar to your external calendar, giving you a single point of truth for your schedules. Now, my favorite part of this is just below that, where we can instantly see a summary of any properties this contact owns in our database, when they last inquired on a listing in our database, when they last came through a private inspection or an open home, when they last sold property with us, and when we last appraised one of their properties. So this is obviously really useful information to immediately surface to you to make sure that when you're talking to this person, you're delivering informed, value-driven conversation to them. For example, I call Reese after our open home, capture his feedback for what he thought about 17 Safari Street, and then also mentioned that it's been over 2 years since we appraised his property at 16 Curran Court, and use that as a basis to hopefully lock in a new appraisal and book in an appraisal with him. So again, just making sure the agents know who to call and know what to say when they do call them. We can also add in any tags and tracks we might want to from here. So for example, I might quickly chuck on the tag that Reese here is a hot buyer. Tagging in Rex is just a simple way that we can categorize our contacts, our properties, our listings. So in future, if I ever just want to bring up a list of all my hot buyer contacts, Reese is going to appear in that list. Same thing with the tracks. So I mentioned tracks a second ago, but this is our main process management tool. So if I talk to Reese here and he says, I'm very interested in purchasing a property, however, I'm a couple of weeks away from getting my finance approved, for example, I may chuck him on our warm buyer 4 to 6 weeks follow-up process. And as we can see, that's a series of follow-up reminders going 6 weeks into the future, including things like emails, reminders to call him, general tasks in the system. And again, we can have email and SMS correspondence fully sent automatically as part of this follow-up track too. Underneath that, we can see a summary of Reese's activity. So this is showing me all the activity on his contact record, again, right here on the side of the screen without me having to actually open his contact record. So the stream in Rex, the activity stream in Rex is a catch-all that captures every single bit of information related to this contact. So we can see everything from open homes he's attended, emails that have been sent out, automated SMSs that were sent out when he checked into an open home. This is showing everything for this contact, all activity for this contact. And we can also filter this as well. So if I just wanted to quickly see his engagement with the specific property that I'm talking about now, the one that I'm following up with, we can do that and just see his engagement with this property. Give me an idea of when he first saw it, when he first inquired, the feedback he left when he first visited the property, and anything else related to our engagement with him. Then we've got this other tab here, the interested listings tab. Let me just jump into a contact that has a few more interested listings. This is a quick way that you can see any other listings that you have that this person has inquired on or visited as part of an open home or a private inspection. So again, without the agents having to go digging for that information, just surfacing it to them immediately so they can call this person, have a high quality, value driven conversation with them and build that relationship with them. So I talked to Chris, he says, 17 Safari Street wasn't for us. Then I can say, well, you looked at 3 Currawong Street as well. Let's talk about that listing instead, without having to, change what I was doing, just quickly pivot the conversation with the information I had presented to me. So obviously a very useful tool to stay on top of those conversations. So again, just to summarize, this follow-up section is automatically populated by people checking into your open homes or attending private inspections. You don't have to do anything. When you log into Rex after an open home, this is going to tell you you need to call these people because you haven't had a chance to capture their feedback from the open home or private inspection you conducted with them. So next part of this release I'm going to show you is on an actual contact record. So I'm going to jump into Chris Hemsworth and Katie Smith's contact record. And that's this new mode we've added to contacts called the buyer mode. So this is basically that same list of interested listings that we saw on the contact pop out, however, in a more detailed view. So we can see any listings that Chris and Katie have inquired on, any listings they've attended open or private inspections for. We can see listings they've attended inspections for more than once, listings we've sent them a contract on, and any offer feedback they've left for listings as well. So you can see here, every single element in this little pipeline is clickable. So for example, I can filter down to just the hot listings. So these are the listings where when I've recorded feedback, I've marked their feedback as hot. We could just take a look at all the listings they've attended inspections more than once, all the listings we've sent a contract to them for. Just giving you a distilled, consolidated view of all the listings this person might be interested in based on their own activity, based on them inquiring or showing up to open homes or inspections. Again, like every part of Rex, it's about giving you useful tools presented to you quickly, providing a very low touch but high outcome CRM for you and your team, get you into the system, get you the information you need, get you the outcomes you need, and get you back out of the system to be in front of buyers and be in front of sellers. From each of the entries down here, there's a few additional notes. So if I'm communicating with Chris and Katie here, I can immediately add feedback or a note against the relevant listing, which is going to be tied to both them and the listing. We could send them an email with listing information, or we can book in an appointment with them, for example, if they want to book in a follow-up private inspection. So just as a real world example, if I call Chris and Katie after our open home and they say they absolutely loved 17 Safari Street, they're fully financed and ready to make an offer of 1.35, we'll say, I can go ahead and throw that straight into the system here. And we'll see that this has now been recorded in the list. So they've been moved out of the contract sent section and they're now in the offer feedback section, and we can see their offer down there. And then you can, of course, continue on with your offer forms and the sales progression functionality that we have in Rex that if you're already using Rex, you're probably familiar with. If you're not using Rex, we can show you in a sales demo after this. Now, the next part of this functionality I'm going to show you is on the actual listing record itself. So we've always had 2 modes on a listing record. We've had what we call record mode, which is where all your words are basically. This is where our marketing copy is, where we do our sales progression, where we do all of our internal work on the listing basically. Except for finances, they've always lived in the finance mode for the listing. This is where all your listing financials live, your vendor paid advertising, your general accounting, syncing with Xero, your sales trust accounting, your commissions calculations. And now we've also added this 3rd mode on listing records, which is your buyer mode. Now, it looks similar to what we just looked at on the contact record. However, as you probably guessed, this is just showing all the buyers related to this listing. So what that means is this is everyone that's inquired on this listing, whether it's come through realestate.com.au, domain, our own website, Anywhere that you're getting inbound inquiries that are automatically ingesting into Rex's lead system, they'll show up here. People that show up to your inspections, your open homes and your private inspections will also show up here as well. And just like on the previous screen, every single element here is clickable. So if I just wanted to show all my hot buyers, I can easily do so and see that distilled list down here as well. Or just show me the people that have come through more than one inspection. And again, we can see that distilled list down here. Now, something else that's useful and can be a little bit overlooked is this filter at the top here. So this is showing me all buyers related to this listing, but I can also filter down to just all the private inspections or a specific open home as well. So this is functionality that we've always had a lot of feedback on in Rex is the open home follow-up, especially on the desktop system. Very, very easy to follow up all your open homes already on Pocket, our mobile app, but a lot of people prefer to sit down at their computer and do their open home follow-ups. So we wanted to give you a consolidated, distilled list of everyone you need to follow up after an open home. Of course, they'll show up on the home screen in the follow-up section we just looked at, but this is another way that you can do that sort of follow-up. So here's everyone that attended my open home yesterday afternoon. If I didn't already do it, I could select everyone in this list and click the merge button over here to quickly send them a bulk email or a bulk SMS. All email correspondence sent from Rex come directly from your own email address. All SMS correspondence sent from Rex will come directly from your own mobile number. Unfortunately, unless you're one of our friends in New Zealand, in which case any SMS sent from the desktop will come from a short code number. But again, using our very familiar three-step bulk sending process, I can choose a template to send to all my buyers or quickly write something on the fly and use our integration with OpenAI if I need help generating content within the system as well. We can also do the same thing for sending SMSs to all these buyers or perhaps generating a letter to all of them. However, it's not the 1800s anymore, so I'm not sure if you would actually be using that functionality there. Now, another useful tool here on the buyer mode on a listing is clicking on any of these buyers' entries here will, as you guessed it, open up the same sort of pop-out we see on the right-hand side. So again, I'll say it again. I'm going to keep saying it. So Joel and Arino, hats off to you. This is my favorite piece of functionality we've released for a long time. I'm all about getting you and your team the information you need as quickly as possible. A lot of other CRMs that I've used, you have to have 16 different tabs open or keep jumping between different screens and try and remember what you're doing. We've tried to distill it all into Rex and give you as much information as you need to in a digestible format. So if I look at Tony Stark here and his little pop out, again, we can see all the properties he owns, when he last inquired, when he last visited an inspection, when he last sold a property with us, and when we last appraised one of his properties. I can see his list of tags here if I want to edit any of those or add more tags to him to help categorize him going forward. And I can also see all the follow-up tracks that we have associated with this contact if I wanted to edit those, remove one, or add a new track based on our engagement and our conversation. Now, what's also really useful and a really thought out little tweak to this functionality is because I've accessed this from the listing record itself, the activity stream down here is already filtered for me specific to this listing. So when I call a buyer, I don't need to worry about doing that. I can instantly see when he first inquired on this listing, when he first visited an inspection. I can see his feedback from his first inspection, which was actually cold. It said not big enough. He wants a beachfront property. That's all useful information to, again, make sure that when I talk to these buyers, I'm telling them stuff that's useful to them. Maybe not stuff they want to hear, depending on the conversation, but just making sure that you're not just going through the motions. You're not just calling and regurgitating a script to them. You're having conversations specific to them, their needs, and their history with you and your agency. And all that stuff feeds into making that relationship as in-depth and positive as possible. We can also see the interested listings list here. So if he is cold on 17 Safari Street, I can remind him that he also inquired on 17 Poinciana Street in Mullumbimby and say, hey, how about that? How about that listing then? You're not a fan of 17 Safari Street? Well, let's go back to 17 Poinciana Street. They're both 17, coincidentally. And send him information about that listing or just have that sort of conversation while we're talking. So that was a bit of a quick run through of our new buyer management functionality. Just to recap what we looked at, we've added in a new section on the home screen, which is this follow-up section, which will immediately surface any buyers you need to follow up with that you haven't had a chance to capture feedback from yet. So everyone that's come through an open home or a private inspection in the past week, past fortnight, or past month, prompting you to add that feedback, which will be reported to your vendor as part of our vendor hub reporting tool here. We've also built out the way that you engage with contact records in the system with this handy little side drawer pop out, giving you and your agents access to more relevant information as quickly as possible. We've added in the buyer mode on a contact record, allowing you to see a distilled list of any listings that you have in the system that your buyers might be interested in. So you can do things like capture that feedback from the one place or make sure that you just have a single point of truth for seeing all that information. And we've also added in the buyer mode to the actual listing record itself, giving you a consolidated view of every single prospective buyer for that listing, whether they're just someone that's inquired through one of the portals, someone that's shown up to an open home or private inspection, attended more than once, someone you've sent a contract to, or someone that you've recorded offer feedback from. Now, a couple little notes now we've looked at the functionality. All this functionality works the exact same for any type of listing in Rex. So it works the same for commercial listings in the database as well. If we do have any commercial agents on here, all this functionality is universal in Rex. Another useful note is this is available to every single Rex user. So most of our users are on what we call our professional package for Rex, which includes all the functionality that we offer, including this. But even those of you that might be on legacy pricing or on what we call our starter package, you also have access to this buyer functionality right away, immediately, without having to pay any extra or do anything. So if you haven't yet, jump into Rex and have a play around with it, and hopefully you can get some use from it. And one last thing that I'll mention that I forgot to sort of highlight as we went through this is the contract sent section here. This is something that's always been very, very common feedback, especially from our friends in New South Wales who are very much about tracking this sort of information. So we just made it as easy as possible for you to mark a contract as having been sent to a prospective buyer. When you check someone into an open home, when they scan the QR code and check in, or you check them in, they're automatically sent listing information, the digital brochure for that listing, which includes all your listing documents, statement of info, a contract, a brochure, body corporate bylaws, whatever it might be. So technically everyone receives the contract. But if you want to keep track of buyers that specifically ask for a contract, this is a really easy way for you to do so. So we've just added in this little tag, mark as contract sent, and we can see the list of people that I've sent a contract to and report that back to our vendor very easily. But yeah, that's about all I had to show you today. So just coming back to what I mentioned at the top of the demo, if you're already using Rex, you already have this functionality. So please get in there, have a play around with it, see what you think, see if you have any feedback as well. Reach out to our support team if you do need a hand with any of this functionality too. They're more than happy to answer any questions you have or show you how to use it if I've not been detailed enough for you today. If you're not already using Rex, keep an eye out for an email you'll get after this demo with a survey you can answer. In about an hour, you'll get a copy of the recording of this meeting as well. And rest assured, if you're in this demo and you're not using Rex, we will be in touch. So just sit tight and we will get in touch with you if you are interested in booking a sales demo to look at this functionality in more detail. But I'll hand over to Joel now to go through and answer any questions you guys have been popping in the chat. And he's just jumped on the meeting. So welcome, Joel.
Hey, Hamish, thank you. Amazing work. And thanks everyone for spending time with us this morning. We've got a bunch of questions in the chat. Please, with the last few minutes, if you have any questions, submit them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them with the time we have remaining. Otherwise, we can always follow up after this meeting with an answer for you. One question from Suzanne was on if there's any options to print a report from the listings, like the offers that have come through. And so I didn't get to answer that in chat, so I can answer that now. There is no new reporting functionality with this release, but we do have, Rex does have a lot of existing reporting functionality that you can use. And I specifically want to highlight a recent release from a couple of months ago called Rex Hub. So if you're not familiar, please look out for the Rex Hub update in our support and user guides. It's a fantastic new way to provide information to your vendors about the types of feedback and offers that you're receiving as you sell a property. See, Hamish is pulling that up quickly now. So yeah, please, Suzanne and everyone, check out Rex Hub. Just looking through the questions as they come in now.
So we had one on smart categories, which I'll quickly answer now. So smart categories are actually a bit of a legacy piece of functionality. I think that came through from Clinton Smith. And when you're looking at a contact record in Rex, this little list of categories right underneath the contact record are the smart categories in the system. And we call them that because they're just a little categorization tag that Rex will actually automatically add for you. So for example, Chris here is the owner of one of our listings, so he's marked as a listing owner. That's a pretty basic one. A useful one is that we've got him marked as looking to buy. And what that means is he has an active buyer match profile in the system. So Rex will automatically create buyer match profiles for you based on inbound inquiries and inspection attendance. So if you ever want to just bring up a list of everyone that's looking to buy, that's basically a list of everyone that's a potential buyer in your database. So that's what we meant by smart categories. It's just a tagging system that Rex will automatically apply for you. And I'll just quickly show you from your list of contacts, if you come into filter, one of the options here for filtering is the smart categories. So I can very easily say, well, just show me everyone that's looking to buy. And again, that's everyone that has an active buyer match profile, which Rex has automatically created for them based on them coming to an inspection, submitting an inquiry, or I've added in a match profile for them myself. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Hamish. I see another question here from Lee just about Rex APIs and the ability to push additional information into Rex to include in reports. Great question. So again, yeah, Rex has a robust set of APIs that you can use for all sorts of different things. Lee, I just shared the API documentation in one of your questions. So if you haven't, definitely check that out. And then, yeah, if you have any specific questions, yeah, please reach out through that link I sent to our technical support team, and we'll be able to help make sure you can get what you need out of the Rex APIs. And one answered question I thought would be good to answer, came up a couple times, was from Amanda. Sorry, not Amanda, from Anonymous. But it was to do with our reminders and the different reminders that you might have against a contact record or a listing, and the ability to see them in the side drawer. And so at the moment, you do have to still go through to the full contact record. Obviously, that full contact record is still there with lots of different things that you can do. And yeah, appreciate though the question and the feedback, where we'll definitely be continuing to iterate on this side drawer and make it more and more useful so you get all the different things you need from that side drawer.
Just to add to that as well, Joel. So if you're basing your reminders around tracks, which is sort of how we'd see best practice, you can see what tracks a contact is in on that side drawer. And if you click on the track, you'll be able to see 3 of 10 reminders are completed and see what reminders are still upcoming on the little track pop out. But you won't see any just sort of bespoke reminders that you may have added separate to your actual follow-up processes.
Nice. Let's see. How do we get the QR code? So another anonymous question, how do we get the QR code open house check-in? So I don't know, Hamish, if you can pull up the way to generate that from the web app. And I'll also use that as a bit of a tease. We do have a new Pocket update coming out in the next couple of months that will make it really easy to generate this QR code from our Pocket app as well. So keep an eye out for that.
All right, so anyone that's not using this already, please take notes. So when you're on a listing record in Rex, you want to come to the brochure option, generate brochure. One of the default print marketing templates we provide for you is called the Open Home QR code. So if you just search QR here, it should pop up. This will generate as a PDF, which you can print out and stick up at your open home. Something that's useful about this is you don't need to keep generating this each time that you run an open home. I can just print it once at the start of the campaign and leave it stuck up in the property. It'll know which open home to assign each attendee to based on the time and date that they scan this and check in. So I do believe it needs to be 1 hour before or after the set time of the open home in your system. But you can just leave this set up in the property. People come through, scan it, give you their details, check in. Once they do that, they're automatically sent listing information and they'll be added to the list of attendees on Pocket, our mobile app for that open home. And if you don't capture feedback for them, they'll also be automatically added to the list of follow-ups you need to make in the desktop system.
Great, thanks, Hamish. And I see we're at time. We do have a few questions. I appreciate everyone sending in. I think we got over 20 questions, which is great engagement. Any question that we didn't get to, we'll note down and we make sure we do get an answer to you as a follow-up from this call. So yeah, I appreciate it. Really, thank you. Thank you for coming along, and I'll hand back to Hamish.
Yeah, I don't have much else. I appreciate everyone spending time with us today. Having over 200 people watch the webinar is absolutely fantastic. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you are already using Rex and you need help with the functionality, please don't hesitate to reach out to our support team through our live chat in the system or through an email ticket. If you guys aren't using Rex, sit tight. You will get correspondence about booking in a sales demo. And everyone that's on here today will get sent a copy of this recording. And please feel free to share them amongst your colleagues, even your friends or your family, if you think they might be interested in taking a look as well. But thank you all very much for spending some time with us today. We really do appreciate it. Keep your eyes peeled for more releases because they're coming thick and fast, and there'll be plenty more demos like this going forward.